Well, thank you guys
Yeah.
for tuning in, and welcome to our weekly Crown of the Gods stream. Um, we have had a busy week, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of work on databases and getting everything to be managed with higher and higher load as time goes on. The more cities there are, it's not just the amount of cities, but the amount of raids that are out, the amount of trades that are out. Um, I can tell that I've got the trade counselor working pretty well because of the high volumes of trades that are being processed. Um, I think just to
Awesome.
give people an idea, I think it's close to 100,000 a minute number of trades that are running around. So it's a good bit to process, and keeping up with it pretty well. The database seems to be doing fine after we spent a good bit of time analyzing it and tweaking things here and there. Um,
Yeah, I think it's doing better now. Yay.
it does take a lot of patience and a lot of, you know, fixing something, then sitting there and watching it for a few minutes to make sure it's helping or hurting, and you know, not overloading the
Adjusting
database at the same time.
accordingly.
How many times did I say either this is going to fix it or we're going to overload the database and crash the game?
Yeah. It always fixed it though. Hooray.
It did. So, which is good because it's exactly what we need to do for, you know, as far as testing goes for live servers and, making sure that the parameters, because we're not always going to be able to check every server individually all the time. So the ability to make sure that this server is handling the load appropriately lets us know that if we keep things that the way they are going forward, that it'll be overkill for a good period of time. But once it gets to this kind of scale in the game, um, it will operate properly, um, which is kind of the goal. And the reason that we have betas is to get the bugs out and also to make sure that the server can handle the load,
Exactly.
um, which I think is doing quite well.
Yep.
There's a whole lot of cities. The entire world map is pretty much getting filled up. Um, so if we can handle two times resources and two times dungeon trades, which really bumps up trades a lot, we'll be able to handle a regular server no problem. And I think the half building speed also has allowed people to drop cities a lot faster than they would um, on a normal server.
Yeah. Combined with the extra res, it's
I'm
going
sure
about
our players
twice the
can't wait
speed.
for a regular speed server.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's going to have a big shock after playing 3 months of a double speed server, and then all of a sudden going to regular speed. It's going to be like watching paint dry. But at the same time, at least
Yep.
the trades are, or I mean, the attacks are at the same speed, so it's not like people are having to run around like they were before when we had two times attack travel. Because you didn't get as much warning. What kind of lag is it? Because there's two different types of lag. There's lags where you know it lags up when you're scrolling around the screen, or there's a lag where when you click on something, it takes a second for the server to respond. So there's really two different types completely. One is client based, which is why some people get it and some people don't based on your system. Um, I know that going to world map will really lag you up. I do also know that there is a some kind of memory leak in between switching cities that doesn't happen to everybody. Um, that I am been working pretty hard to figure out and find. Oh, the alliance chat was laggy. Um, well, it is running on a smaller server. I need to check the chat server and see if maybe
The
it's
chat server. Yeah.
falling behind with all the people on there chatting in alliance and stuff. Um, but that's kind of the best possible lag you could have brought up is chat lag, because
Yeah,
that's the
because it's
actual
on its
easiest to
own
fix.
server. Yeah.
Um, so if it's chat lag, that's easy to fix. Um, the harder lags to fix are the city view and the region view, just because you don't know what's causing it, and what kind of computer somebody has that they're getting it on.
And Gold Wolf says, "Stop talking so much."
We could just sit here.
No, I think he was directing that to the people who have chat lag.
Oh, it's a good idea.
The Phantom City layout should be fixed now, right? Where it was transferring from city to city or
Yes, it
popping
should.
up layouts that shouldn't have been there.
Yes, that should be fixed.
Excellent.
You know, we were talking earlier about how well Region View works compared to other games. It's almost seamless. You know, you can just kind of scroll around the entire map without much issue at all, with no black screens and no loadings, and you know, occasionally you'll get a little bit of lag, and that's just because it's updating. You know, for the things that have changed since the last time you logged on.
Yeah. But it stays wherever I have it clicked on region, it stays there with my mouse. Like it doesn't take 2 seconds to get it to move to where I've just put my mouse. And that's nice.
Well, not only that, but I got the what they call culling right. So it's not, you know, sometimes when you do things with a render, it will black screen and then kind of draw in the picture as you go. So I've kind of got it to the point now where you see 0 black screen at all when you're scrolling around. So I'm quite happy with regional. It's just world map that needs to be done. The bosses, I did fix them where they are showing inactive as soon as without having to click on them. The issue is that you've got some people, which we will not mention, that are hitting all the bosses. So here's a good strategy: if you have no bosses on the continent, just kind of look at the rankings at who's hitting the bosses, and then kill them.
Yep. There you go.
Can the water bosses not be
Bosses.
clicked on?
Let me try. I have maybe.
There's one right there. It's active.
Gotta take about 2 minutes for my worldview to embrace.
And now that I got the trade counselor under control, I can get back to working on the world map that I've been messing around with and working on.
Oh, landing on unclickable spots, Dwezzle says. Do you have a set of coordinates for one of those?
See if people can watch my screen, just to give people an example of what render culling is. You can see how as I scroll it kind of sticks to the old stuff before it renders the new stuff.
Yeah.
That's called culling. Same thing kind of Google Maps does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, this regional map or world map shouldn't take much longer to finish now that you know, kind of things have stabilized and the server's running pretty stable.
Now, what you're seeing though right now is it changing from one view to the other and popping up the region. That isn't actually lag. That's just it takes a second to fill in.
Yeah, it's basically just the way it is. It takes a second
Yeah.
for it to draw. You can actually watch it drawing.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, especially when we get kind of menus in there and you know, the ability to turn things on and off, and you know, the ability to mark certain alliances or players. You know, when we put the labels in so that people can actually click on there. You know, eventually we might put some kind of actions in, so maybe you can attack straight from this world map if we make it a separate thing.
Would that be one of the right-click functions?
for the world map, I'm thinking more of, it'd be the way to introduce some sort of multi-city attack script. So you could say, every city that's got, you know, these kind of troops um, hit this at this time. Kind of set it up that way. The problem with the attack script is everybody's got a different, idea of what they think is good. So that's why, it's almost better to let that up to the scripters. So there can be a few of them, and people can make them, the way that they like them best. You know, that's the only thing that holds me back from putting in a lot of other scripts into the game is that, just because it's something that I would like to use doesn't mean that everybody else would like to use it. And if you put it straight into the game, it might discourage people from creating their own, because a lot of invention comes from necessity.
Yeah. Gold Wolf Dwezzle, if you can't find them right away, that's fine. If you do find any like that, go ahead and send in a ticket, and we'll look.
Yeah, and I know a lot of those bosses that are on land spots is basically just leftover crap from changing regional map 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's also something that I'm not going to be fixing during this beta because I don't like to mess with the spots. The last time I messed with the spots, I'm sure everybody can remember the alpha of Oops. That Oops came directly from trying to fix spots while the game was running live. So.
All right, yeah, Gold did find one, and I can't click it either.
Where is it?
394085. Uh-oh, Ella can't get back into the call.
394085.
Yeah,
That's
level 7 Triton. I can't click on him either.
looks like a city.
Mm. Well, yeah, I mean, that
There you go.
coordinates right off. There's Ella. Right off to the right of that, there's the Siren's Cove right
Hey.
there, level 7, and then right to the right of the Siren's Cove is a Triton level 7 that is not clickable.
Oh, I don't see it.
Oh, maybe he's gone. Maybe that's why. It's not, the image isn't clearing after it's been hit.
I don't know. I don't see it.
I haven't refreshed in probably 4 hours. So that could be it. Yeah, you're in the right spot on the map. There's that Siren's Cove. And the Triton is probably three tiles to the right. Yeah, 4 tiles to the right of the Siren's Cove. So it's gone. He's gone. Somehow. Because he's not on Gordy's. Or maybe it's something you fixed on the dev server. I'm not on the dev server. I'm on the normal server again.
Sigamit, the script market isn't going to be anytime, soon. I'm really just trying to stabilize the game, get everything in there before I start working on completely different platforms. And basically, to make the script market, I would have to just fully create the entire platform for it, as well as kind of start, figuring out a way to implement it. It's probably going to take an extra person to, review the scripts and implement them straight into the game so that they work, which isn't that hard. You can just kind of drop them in once you've made sure that they're kosher and things like that. But whenever I get the time to, and the game's more stable, I can start working on creating a script market.
Cool. Got a lot of people excited about that.
I thought it was a good idea. We've had a lot of people scream and holler about it, and by a lot I mean like 1 or 2. But they're a very loud 1 or 2. But I think it's a great idea for people who write scripts to be able to, monetize them, because it's just going to make for better scripts.
I think the worry with the people that have spoken out against it is that it'll just make it more pay to win. But I think us giving, that little bit of denari for the daily login bonus, I think that'll negate that, really.
You know, or it's people who expect things for free. You know, and when you expect things for free, you end up with, you know, scripts that steal all of your information and send it off somewhere else. And you know, who knows? JavaScript is open to a lot of you know, security vulnerabilities. So you know, you have to kind of trust the things that you're opening up. Especially somebody could take over your entire game more or less. Um, if you just want free scripts out there, and it, you know, the black market's not exactly the safest place to be downloading things for a competitive game where people are trying to get an advantage any way that they can. So doing it this way makes it a bit safer, and it makes, you know, people want to write scripts and maintain them and keep them up to date because, you know, they're getting you know, compensation for them.
Well, that, and I think people will be more inspired to make better scripts too.
And maintain them.
Right.
You know, because if you think about, you know, down the road, if the game has a, you know, 100,000 players, 200,000, 300,000, and you know, you've written, for example, Boss Tools, and charge, you know, 39 cents, you know, that's a good chunk of change right there that you've just made from people downloading your script for 39 cents.
Yeah. Sigma has around 10 scripts queued up and waiting.
And you know, as a developer, he can kind of speak to the fact that it is encouraging for him to be able to have a market, and you know, because it takes a lot of time. I mean, I don't know if people who don't code really know, but it takes a lot of time and effort to sit there and make scripts and the UIs for them and make them that they work, and you know, test them out. And he's got to deal with somebody else's code on top of that, which is a pain in the ass. Um, so you know, he's excited about it because he knows the value of his work, and you know, it's the people that don't code that don't understand that it takes a lot of time and effort to not only make them but maintain them, and people don't always do that kind of stuff for free. Um, and if they do it, they're going to keep it to themselves for as long as possible. Because why give somebody else an advantage when you get nothing out of it?
Right.
None of us is Mother Teresa, except for maybe Allah.
Maybe.
Damn right.
But yeah, it is in the plans to have up, and we'll probably have it up before we get out of the open beta, I would imagine, because the game is stabilizing pretty well.
I
Yeah.
would think so.
Not this beta, but
Yeah,
the next.
it's actually starting to in the last
server.
couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks we've been just making a lot of little fixes, and I think the last patch did a lot to fix some of the bigger issues, um, or at least the
Yeah.
more annoying ones. And those are the kind of patches that we'll
Yes.
continue to do, as well as, you know, things where I'm going to start working more on the counselors. Um, we did kind of have an idea that we were just talking about, whereas pulling raids out of reports completely.
And Veeam says he has a bunch of scripts ready too. Sigamet,
Yeah, in the last hour or so.
if you want to do tutorials, feel free to hop in the forums and start a thread.
Yeah, and you know, I made the code base easy on purpose. You know, I use very standardized languages. You don't have to learn any kind of crazy packages. We did it very, um, you know, without using Angular or anything like that. So it's,
Simply.
yes, it's
Yeah.
simply, but not simply. It's more of a we're just a bunch of masochists who don't like to use packages to make things easier. Um, but it does make it simpler for anybody who knows JavaScript to jump in and help out. And we always wanted people to write scripts for the game.
Yes.
Goldwolf, I'm taking a screenshot and I'm going to put it in chat for you. That's an active boss. I can click on him. I can send to him if I wanted to. But I'm leaving items for you guys. I haven't hit any bosses.
Do you think Goldwolf's figured out that I do this just to mess with him?
It's just you, Gold.
It's only you, Goldwolf. We're just messing with you.
Are you in a city that has ships? Because if you're in a city with land troops, then it won't.
Yeah, I have.
Weird.
Here's another thing for you guys that I've been working on. Is been working on little things with. I'm gonna start making overviews for all the counselors. So like this is gonna be the trade counselor overview, which is about half done, and it'll show kind of the amount in your hubs. Um, I do need to make a standard city group for hubs. I think that just is always there. That they can't delete. And if you just drop your hubs in there, then it'll show up on the trade counselor overview. I think that'd be a good way to do it.
Good idea.
I like that.
It's also a good way to do the.
Yeah. I
you know,
think some old script from other games had something like that.
Yeah, just steal
Yeah.
Vimi's um, trade counselor script, which was my favorite script in the game. Um, so yes, we are going to rip it off,
Mine too.
put it in there eventually. But using the hubs um, would make it so that you could do it with the overviews, and then when you click here, you can see the what it's sending to and what it's and who's requesting from it. Kind of give everybody an overview of it, and then maybe put some input boxes in so you could change things on the fly. So that way you wouldn't actually have to go into every one of your cities and change things. You could do it straight from the overviews, which I think will be helpful. And
Yeah.
we're also contemplating moving raid reports completely out of the reports window, and just making reports for attacks and palace temple trades.
Veeam says he's already written that one,
Oh.
and they're testing it in Lollipops.
Awesome, then I don't need to write it. We can just wait.
Yeah. Works for me.
Works for me too. It makes my life a lot easier to have people out there coding things for the game, and that's really the point of it. Is that I'm not going to be able to develop things the way that everybody likes it. So people can make their different options the way they like
Well,
it.
I think that the reason we were doing it was because we wanted to reduce on the database load, whereas probably the reason that Veeam is doing it is to reduce on the number of reports that show in the reports window.
Oh no, he's
So I would
talking
say
about
probably if we were planning on doing it, there probably is still like
he's talking about
He's
the trade
the-
counselor drop-down options where you can
Yeah.
select a set of predefined
sorry,
options.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Taking the reports and changing the way we
I had to
do them
close
is.
the video window because my net was with.
But yeah, it's pulling the raid reports out. Just for an example, today there's like 574,000 raid reports, and I've been deleting them every 24 hours. So that means in the last 24 hours we've generated 574,000 raid reports that most people don't even look at, and it causes a large amount of strain on the database, because that's a lot of rows to look through when you're searching through reports. So if we can pull those out of reports altogether and put them into like a nice overview where you can see the analysis and see the amount of loot gotten back and the troops that were killed, in like one-liners, I think that would actually be a lot better than having them in reports. You only look at them if you want to, and then we save reports for the really important stuff like attacks and temple trades, things like that.
And the person who put in the suggestion that kind of got us started on this track was It's Crazy Cav.
Oh, is it?
He's the one that wanted that button to delete all Cavern Raid reports.
Okay. Yeah, and there's just so many reports and you're rating all over the place. It'd be much better to put them into an overview, and so you could just have a straight up raid overview instead of getting reports that you don't even want to look at all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the troop overview, I need to do. I need to put a bunch of select boxes in there and make it so you can hide and show columns, as well as make the headers float, which means that they stay as you scroll up and down. I did change it around a little bit so that the total troop mix um, goes by the troop strength, because that's why some of the bigger ones weren't showing. Is you've got 500,000 vanquishers and 5,000 ballista. It's going to show the vanquishers a lot more. So if you do it by troop strength, then it kind of gives you an overview of the troop strength mixture instead of the just the solid numbers. So that is coming on the next time I update overviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be I can get to all types of buttons in here to kind of sort through there, make it so it's easier to use,
I like it.
or at least take the zeros out, because zeros drive me crazy. Maybe put a dash instead of a zero. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think, not only could we have the overview, but you could even have, I could put pie charts in for all of your raids. So, you could visually see, maybe even, it'd be kind of cool is to have is like a bar chart that shows, or a line graph that shows the number of raids you have going at any given time in your history. So then you could see, I'm raiding less yesterday than I was today. Where do I need to go to, fix my raiders back up? And you can see your trend in raiding.
I like that, the trend in rating. I was just thinking of that. So you can look at a city and see whether it's, losing more and more troops as it goes. That
Yep.
type of deal.
Well, and you could also put in, charts that show the amount of loot you've gained per day. In a line. You could have a couple different lines as well. On the same one that shows all the different aspects of your rating. The percentage of the loot you've gained and things like that. I like having the attacks and plunders and support in there because you can see them in real time without having to switch to a different window in the overviews. Whereas raid reports are more of like an analytic thing, and then I need to know right now what just happened, and make a fast decision on it.
Is there any way that we could keep those attack
Hey, I'm
reports
back
in the
again.
game? Welcome back. Is there any way that we could keep the attack reports in the game like that and do an overview for them so that they can be?
Well, yeah, I'd like to make them so they're exportable. So that'd be completely
Excellent.
different. So make it so that they're exportable, and you can export your attacks, which would be really useful for alliances who want to, save the data of who attacked with what, so that they can put it into some kind of spreadsheet or something, or database, and use it to predict attacks in the future, which is what we used to do, where we would have, we would save whatever had hit before, and then the next time exactly what's coming from that city. So things like that to make it easier. And for those coders out there, if you guys want something like exported in a certain format, just let me know, and I can put in another button and make one for CSV, which is good for the non-coders, and one for JSON or XML for the other ones.
Yeah, I see that what Dwezzle's saying is if you're being hit by a lot of people and you just kind of want that overview of, everything that hits you, that can be helpful too.
What we should do is we should put in the forums and have kind of like an open thing where everybody can go in and design how they would like to see an overview for their attacks, like what information, and then we can pick out the best one, because that's a lot easier than me just creating something. So if we did it through the forum post, people could just do basic mock-ups of what information they'd like to see, how they'd like it laid out, and then we could end up picking a couple, having a vote on them, and then making it look like that. But like if we did some kind of we could even offer some kind of denarii or something for the people who win. for the person whose design we use. You know, spur a little bit more competition in it. But
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot. You know, because I don't always know what people want to see. I can make stuff, but it's the way that I'd want to see it, and you know, my brain processes things differently than other people's.
You are definitely different.
But we'll have maybe you can do that this afternoon or something.
Yeah, I can whip up a forum post for that, no problem.
And you know, if anybody wants to actually make a mock-up, you know, I'm using Bootstrap, which is really easy to figure out if you know HTML. So it's real simple, it's really easy, and you know, you could just really make something in there, and it would look just like this because I'm really using the base templates, and I'm using Google visual imagery for the chart. So these are all very standard open source stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's data.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be pretty, but you know, we'll make it look good. But just kind of like the layout and how you would want it is the important stuff.
Right.
And we can always make it expand, much like I'm doing with the things. So you can have, you know, just a top line of stuff. I think I do that for incoming attacks, although I don't have any at the moment, where it shows you the top line of everything that's incoming and outgoing, and then when you click on it, it gives you the detailed list of when and what is coming in. So I think an incoming attacks is actually a really good, works really well. The only thing it needs left is the buttons that'll speed up your reinforcements for you. Or the ability to send reinforcements home might help too. But I'd imagine that by the time we're done with overviews, this will be a full list all the way down the page of different overviews that we can have, that everybody can use differently.
Yeah.
Because it's
Which
such
would
a
be
great
really
tool
cool.
for a game that's so data, you know, intensive. To be able to pull it off-site and just have all your data, and to be able to do game functions in it, you know, it might be good for people who can't actually get on the game, but they can jump into their overviews as well. So, you know, maybe eventually we have an overviews direct login, so that you can, if you're on 2 or 3 different servers, you can switch servers and jump from each of your dashboards when you're at work or somewhere else, and mess around with your stuff and look at it.
Right.
You know, and maybe I just drop the world map straight into here where it opens it in its own tab, instead of you know,
Having it in the game.
trying to keep it in the game. Just because there's so many points to draw that, you know, if I keep it in the game, it's going to slow things down, as it already does.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get around by grouping the points in this map. Yeah, maybe you could have like one column for the amount of troops hit, you know, one column for the amount of troops that defended, what's left in the city, how many more attacks are incoming,
Building levels taken down.
building levels taken down, and then if you click to open it up, you can kind of see all of the different individual attacks.
Yeah. And another important one is how much food is left.
How much food is left, when it's going to starve. Have you heard anybody
Yeah.
say that the food times were off anymore? Because I did fix those.
Nope.
So those
No,
should be
I haven't
spot on
had-
now.
Tickets have been really, really, really slow today.
Which is good, because the slower tickets are, the more stuff I can mess around with and fix.
Mm-hmm.
We did add in the green labels for cities, which I think you know, makes it easier for people to see where their cities are.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
I could make the text maybe a little bit bigger and easier to read for old people like Gold Wolf.
I like that, seeing my clusters in a glance on the region view.
I'm thinking I could probably change the label too. So put like a green border around it or something.
That could work too. instead of having it against the blue background, or keep the blue background and I don't know.
But at least so they stand out a little bit more.
Right. Because the green, it does help, but yeah, if you make it just a little bit more obvious, it might be cool.
And the reason that the regional map runs so well is because I'm not trying to do this stuff that other games did by changing the colors of your alliance members and stuff. That would really slow down the regional map, just because you'd have to generate it individually for each person, whereas here I'm kind of generating them the same and only generating it differently for your own cities.
Right.
But if anybody remembers the regional map lag when people started getting lots of cities because of the labels, it was pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, God. You can even move region map. It was always just generally better to go to world.
Yeah, but this system that I kind of figured out just works so well. It's just you can't customize it too much.
Right. Yeah, that's what we were just pointing out, Steeltown, is
Yeah.
that on region, if you change everybody's colors, that's where the lag starts coming in.
Yeah, because then you're having to generate things differently on the fly. Whereas here I'm kind of saving them as images that you've already downloaded and it's reprocessing them and not actually having to redraw stuff. So it wouldn't be feasible to have an image for every single person based on their preferences that only they download, because that would be a lot of space to take up. So
But the way that world map is now, where you can scroll down in and see regional from like a bird's eye view, that will be colored.
yes.
And so there's no real reason anymore to need it on region. So
Yeah.
show him, can you show him that real quick? What that does?
Okay, so this is the new world map, and it kind of zooms in and gives you a region view. So when it's zoomed out, it kind of looks more like the traditional world map, which it doesn't want to do since it's I'm streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
But
There
see,
it
kind of
is.
looks traditional, with the little temple and what they are. You can zoom all the way out and kind of see the makeup. And then as you zoom in, it starts to spread out the cities a little bit more.
Yeah.
And as you can see where your alliance members are pretty easily through all of the clutter. But then it turns into the actual image of the regional map, where you're able to see, the different clusters. And then, this kind of makes it more like the regional map. It just doesn't have the actual icons, but you can click on them and you'll be able to get people's cities' names and castles and information, as well as shrines. Eventually, we're going to end in we're going to put in like a shrine radius that will show you the points around the shrine. Keeping it outside of the game means that I can add a whole ton of stuff to it that I would have to kind of limit otherwise, because you don't want to overload one tab in the browser with too much stuff. Whereas if you've got it on a separate tab, people can open and close it and it instantly garbage collects it.
Yeah.
Which it's not really feasible to do if it's in the same tab. Little things like that will just make the game better than it was in other games, and allow us to do more. And with the way that modern browsers are, we don't have to worry so much about tabs, because it's not a big issue. Currently for World Map, it's all about, can you afford the amount of memory that it's taking to draw all of those dots. That's why, I had disabled it for a while, but I brought it back for the people who'd wanted to handle it. For this world map, it shouldn't take anything above a cell phone, because it's got different processes. It's just not as easy to put straight into the game and allow it to be as interactive as I would like it to be. So this would not require any resources other than a basic computer. But currently in the game, it's because the memory's stacking on top of the other memory, and it doesn't go away as fast as it would if you just close this browser or this tab. Then all the memory gets collected and restored back to your computer.
Yeah.
Whereas it lingers in the game because there's a lot of other things going on.
huge leaps and bounds of improvement from other games.
Again, it's kind of different to do it outside of the actual window, but I think it's the way to go. Um, the only thing you can't do with it like this is double click into region view.
Right.
Um, but it does give you the overview of where things are. And maybe eventually I can figure out a way to do it across tab, which would have to be like a database send that would change your view, which I could probably do. But it would have to go through a back-end process to tell one tab to send it to another tab.
I don't think we need to double click into region view anymore because you can just zoom right up on it.
Yeah, but if, say, you're looking for a boss and you find the boss, you want to double click on the boss to get in on it. So, if you could double click on this and then it instantly just shoots you over in the game, I think I can do that. I don't think it'd be that hard.
Yeah. And
No, I had started doing that, but then I found that when you're sending the information too much, then it overloads the servers for the data in and out, which is my big bottleneck, really, is the amount of data going back and forth. I could probably attach it to that, but I don't necessarily see the need to, mostly because those variables get destroyed. So I'm already creating HTML DOM elements, and that's going to take up memory. And if I keep the data as well for somebody who's got 100 to 200 attacks coming, or 300 attacks coming, and attach it to an object that's going to stay stagnant and not get cleaned up, that's going to spike the memory too much. So that's why I'm doing it the way I did. I did used to have it like that before, but I went on a crusade to drop memory usage in the game, and that was one of the things I cut out. There's just so many things going on. You can't save everything to arrays and let it sit stagnant, or else it'll get out of control. Especially when people start having 150 trades, 500 trades coming out of a hub, and then get a bunch of attacks incoming on it as well, or a temple. I mean, because temples have thousands of trades coming in, and could have hundreds of attacks at the same time. It would really spike memory use if I keep that around. So that's the reason I don't do it.
And I can provide an example of that. When we had a big attack, it took 45 minutes for 100 attacks to come in. And then we only had 15 minutes to react. And you don't want that either.
And that's also something I can put in the, it might be easier to pull it from the overviews, because the overviews gets all of that information as well, and it brings it all in on one big spot. And I'm more than happy to provide some kind of data points where you guys can pull someplace and ask for certain types of data and bring them into your scripts. So that is certainly something I'm open to. It would also cut down on you guys trying to call the actual game scripts. So maybe eventually I'll get around to writing some kind of server poll where you can send a 1 or a 2 or a 3 to it and get back the corresponding information you'd like. And that would make the scripters' jobs a lot easier, as well as people who want to make chat bots in the future and stuff, instead of actually having to pull the server, which I think did a lot of damage to the Battle of Lords server, as well as other ones, because you're trying to program around getting information. If we just provide it, it would save the servers and also allow people to develop better things.
Yep. Yeah, he says that would be perfect.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. As well as to send people the world information. There'd be limits on it where you can't pull it every 5 seconds, which doesn't update that fast anyways. But at least that would allow me to control the data flow instead of just letting people cowboy it. Maybe even something we can, um, do to. It'd be a good idea to set up some kind of thing for the programmers who want to make a chatbot or a script or something, where they can actually get pings from the server to let them know when data has been updated, and then kind of write back. Kind of the same things like PayPal and stuff do, where they ping you, you ping them, and then you get the data that you were looking for. Um, Keeps people from having to make random calls constantly. So, yep, all things that I plan on doing in the future because, I was in the same position at one point and I know what I would have liked to have, and I know that it makes the games better. And if you provide enough of it to, the people who aren't coding and the alliances who don't have somebody around, it keeps the playing field kind of level too. Have we lost Lisa again?
She's being quiet because she has a 7-second delay between what we say and what she says. Kind of like the delay between us and the stream. Her internet's acting up.
Who would have thought the internet in Ireland was worse than the internet in Finland?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
See?
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about the WebSockets, is the WebSockets you don't have to worry too much about the calls. You can just intercept things as they come. But I'm talking about the ability to claim spots and things like that. I know that my chatbot used to pull a lot of information in order to feed it back to people when they asked for something. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. The chat interaction is easy, and I love the WebSockets. They work so fast, and the back and forth is real quick, and I don't have to make polls to the server for it. If I could figure out a way to do the rest of this stuff in push notifications, it'd be a lot easier. But just a lot of it is, it's just not possible to do it that way. I have to keep the poll running to collect new information. No, I'm not. Well, it depends on the bots you're talking about. People always get confused between chat bots and automation bots. Automation bots, I am not in favor of, and if I catch automation bots, I will, go after them pretty hard. Chatbots, I don't have a problem with. Chatbots are basically just, chat interaction UI, where people can, talk to the chats. A lot of them tell jokes, but you can also claim spots and have it, save them to an external database so that other people can try to claim a spot. And it helps a lot with organization, but it doesn't actually do anything for you. So there's a big difference between a bot in the sense of an automation bot and a bot in the sense of chat bots. And a lot of games wouldn't know the difference. A lot of developers don't, but personally I know the difference, and so I have no problem at all with chatbots.
Another thing you can do is ask it for information, like a specific city.
Information. We also had mine would yell out incoming attacks. So and so's got a Baron siege, or a Senator siege going on,
Yeah.
so that everybody kind of noticed it. I've got absolutely no problem with those, and in fact, I thought about having a bot section, a chat bot section of the script market where people can actually download and have their own chat bot, and also make it a separate account, so you could have the account that's in your alliance, but it doesn't actually count as a player account. It's just for the chat bot. So you can't actually build cities for it. It doesn't actually have any base to it, and it doesn't take up one of your spots in the alliance either.
Right.
And that way, you could have that spot open, you could run it, and you wouldn't have to actually sacrifice a spot or be accused of multi-accounting or anything like that.
Right.
people asking for the raid calculator, or it can even ask you, uh, when was the last time this person was plundered? Should I, where their resources be back up, or there's all types of stuff that you can do for it. That's really a legal way to just create a user interface in the game. Um, that's not
It's
it's not exploiting the game. It's just it's kind of the same thing as the old IIRC bots were. Chat management.
basically it just makes it easier to search for information that you'd be able to find yourself with a few more clicks.
It's kind of like 80.
Thanks.
80 was a chatbot. That's what exactly what the
I'm a bot.
that's exactly what the process was. People ask questions and she supplies them with answers and links.
Right.
Give me a couple months, I could create one of those. It'd even tell jokes. And talk about cats.
You just can't make me obsolete because that's not all I do.
Well, that wasn't the plan. It was to free you up by automating you. But yeah, that's and I'll make sure that we have something. Eventually we'll have a page set up to explain all of kind of what we're looking for as far as rules, and to explain the difference between a chat bot and an automation bot, which I think a lot of people get confused of and get upset as soon as they hear the word bot.
Yeah.
Because they're completely different things.
Goldwolf is never, ever allowed around my cats. I would have no cats left.
Yeah, I really don't want to know what he does with cats. Got no desire. This is not the correct forum for his stuff. We'll just call it stuff.
I don't know about that too. I've kind of made myself irreplaceable.
And I did change the defense counselor around, and I think it's working pretty well. I haven't heard any complaints about it today. But
Yeah, I haven't.
I got it on a 15-minute build for the out of city. So it's 5 minutes if you're in the city, but then if you're out of the city, it kind of pops up to 15 to make sure that when people log in, they like to see the bars half going.
Yeah.
And I did make the hammers sped up too, so now you don't have to sit around and wait for them to go through one by one. It just instantly uses all of it if you've got the counselor set up,
Yeah.
which causes us a few more tickets, because I think a lot of people don't realize that they actually are working. So maybe it's something I need to have some kind of pop-up that says, you just built this.
Mm-hmm.
And have like the whole list of cities or buildings that were just upgraded every time somebody uses a hammer. That would cut down a lot on the tickets of the hammer didn't work.
Yeah, maybe something like that for the shield too, for enlistment.
Yeah, because that's what
Although I
the
haven't
shield
seen
does.
very many of those.
I think it's because people get used to it, and not only that, but it's a single number instead of it having to look and see what numbers went up on your buildings.
Well, and with the enlistment, you have to have enough res to blow through all the hours on it, and not very many people build up enough storage to do that. So they are actually seeing time removed and time left and stuff.
Right. But yeah, I think a simple little pop-up that just said you used an item and built this.
Oh, Steeltown says that his page didn't refresh at the same time. So he wasn't seeing the difference in the buildings either.
Oh, yeah, maybe I need to put in a call to make it render after. That's probably what I need to do. I need to make
That might help, yeah.
after you click it, make sure that it updates. Because as you can tell, the updates don't happen. I kind of rigged the HTML5 canvas to make it so that it doesn't just sit there and constantly draw. Which is like right now I'm not moving at all. But it would be sitting here drawing it over and over and over and over again, which uses up a lot of CPU. So I kind of made it so that it only does that when you actually click and move around. So if you've ever noticed that sometimes you click and it updates. That's the reason. So I just need to put that in for the. No, you guys need more pop-ups, and it needs to flash red and be really hard to unclick. Maybe it'll move around every time you click it. Um, but sometimes pop-ups are necessary because while you may understand and may pay attention, the amount of tickets we get on it tells me that not everybody does. So a nice breakdown of something, and it stays on the screen just like the alerts, for 5 seconds or something that says you built this many buildings, from level this to level that, and like a nice little list would, I think, help people who aren't paying attention understand it more.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about a pop-up window in the middle of the page that you have to
No.
click out of.
No, I'm talking about a pop-up, the same as we have the error pop-ups.
Yeah.
So they kind of show up, they sit there for a couple seconds, and then they go away. Just enough to let somebody know that something did work.
I think that's what Tree Fires was thinking, is the actual big pop-up window that you have to X out of.
Cartoon me? Can I actually talk?
A cartoon of you saying, you just built this, 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 and this.
That sounds like a lot of recording.
Yeah.
I might as well just make my own GPS.
The new Siri.
Yeah, I saw that segment. I like that. It's I thought that was really cool. The screenshot.
Yeah, I
You
showed it
to
to
me.
him.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea. If you don't mind, maybe it's something I steal and put it into chat, for everybody. It also could get spammy, I guess. Does yours actually?
Back again.
What's that?
I said I'm back again.
Oh, welcome
Yeah.
back. Uh,
Ooh.
does yours actually segment them out? So I guess it only comes. Is it only you that's running it, and so then it shoots it into chat, or is it the fact that are you running it on everybody's and then theirs coming in? Because that's the issue I see, is that if I did that, then it would say 50 times that somebody's got something if a lot of people had it. So I guess for me it'd be easier just to make it a singular call, and have one person shoot it.
He said
So-
you can go ahead and steal it.
I'm just curious how he did it to make it so that it didn't shoot from everybody. Oh, okay.
It's only him running
That's
it.
why. So if you're not online, then it doesn't work.
What's going on with the forum? Catman Cat.
Oh, he's talking about the in-game form that I haven't got around to fixing again.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure I know how you do it. You're just grabbing it and sending it, and then stopping the pop-up from showing. Because the text coming in is pretty plain text, and shooting it to the chat function. It wouldn't be hard to do, and then I could put it in. I don't know if people like notifications or not. I know that when I jump
Maybe
into
make it an
alliances,
option.
yeah, maybe make it an option, or do both, and then actually hook up the options to let people turn off their notifications.
Yeah. I think having the option of turning off your pop-ups would be popular.
Yeah, and then only sending the important ones like the alliance upgrades and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could make it an option so that maybe it's something that goes into alliance options or something somewhere. Or
Yeah.
you can choose to push important events to it.
It's a neat idea.
It is.
I liked it. That's why I showed you the screenshot of it.
I almost think it'd be fun to do what a lot of other games do, and push like city captures or castle captures into world chat, so everybody knows when somebody else took a castle from someone.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of things that disgrace people who lose. but then again, I'm a complete asshole. So
He's the troll dev.
yes, I get told to stay out of chat quite often. It's hard to deny your natural nature. But yeah, the important alliance stuff wouldn't be bad. And some pop-ups that I want to happen is like when your alliance builds a level 10 or something. Those are kind of cool pop-ups to get, and people can take pictures of them and screenshots, especially when we get images and graphics in on them. Because it's always nice to have those. I still have some of them saved that says your alliance has won.
Yeah,
Um, and also
I
that
have.
would be good when we
I have
eventually hook into
enough.
Facebook and let people start posting stuff to their Facebooks.
Yeah.
Which I think eventually we should probably do.
Yeah.
It's free marketing on the backs of people's social networks.
Works for me.
Yeah. It'd really, help to bump things around if everybody gets notifications when they've done something in a game. And most games actually do that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a good idea. And see, and that's exactly why we need people writing scripts, is because people can come up with better ideas than I'm going to be able to, or different ideas. I know that I'm not going to think of everything. Okay. Yeah, that's the good way to do it. Is you get out some of the minor ones, and it's only necessary because I haven't hooked up the options yet, so I forget about that frequently. So I'm going to do that tonight. Is hook up the options for the next patch.
I have made a note to remind you of that too.
Okay. Because that would make things a lot simpler, and then we can do the push to chat. Let me look at that print screen.
Mm, I'm opening it. The tooltip shows that you
So does the actual number.
incorrect. Yeah.
No, and I have to figure out why that's doing that. If you could make a ticket and tell me the city, that would help a lot, because then I can jump into the city and see what's actually getting calculated weirdly.
I have a city that isn't. Well, no, never mind. It has full for level 10. Never mind. So it's going to show 100. Maybe I do have a city that's only half built.
Yeah, because look at that. The tooltip is actually right. It says the number of buildings in the city is 100, but then it shows 100 for the ones. Oh, it's every single city. Okay.
No, mine's working right in cities where I don't have level 10s.
Well,
Like I'm in one that I've built some cabins and a castle and storehouse in, and it says number of buildings 31. Number of buildings allowable is 80 because it's level 8 basilica, and number of spaces remaining 49.
well, I'll just start popping into his cities, and it should be something pretty simple.
Yeah.
The pains of coding is you change something, and then all of a sudden something else gets completely fucked. It's kind of the story of my life.
Yeah.
And I kind of find it amusing when people keep saying that we're using old other game code.
Yeah.
Because it's so, it's all so completely different than the other game.
Absolutely brand
it's not
new.
even using the same frameworks. It's dungeons are completely automated, and they're based on the TS of the city, the amount of troops you have built. So I mean, if you're pulling 5 or 6, that's because it's hitting the right numbers on the algorithms.
Yeah, it's past 5.
Okay. Well, then we will call it a day. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and putting in tickets and helping us make the game better. And thank you guys for making scripts that make the game better as well. We'll continue to work with everyone and make things, so that the game's pretty awesome going forward.
Yes.
Keep it fresh and keep it, easy to play while still be challenging, which is kind of the fine line that you tread. Um, and we'll keep fixing things here and there and adding things to make it more and more better. I guess you can't say more better.
Well, you can, but
I'll
it
just say
won't be
I'll just
correct.
say better. Um, so thank you guys, and if you have any issues or suggestions, make a ticket. We look at all the tickets pretty diligently, and we're going to do some forum post here to have a couple contests for designs of overviews and how people would like to see them and have them.
Yep.
And
So keep an eye on the forums.
we will
The
talk.
site forums, not in-game.
Yeah, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Yes.
So,
Keep putting the tickets in, guys.
yep. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining.
Thank you all.